He will guide till the day is done. There is not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. There is not an hour that is not near us. No, not one. No, not one. No night so dark, but his love can cheer us. No, not one. No, not one. Jesus knows all about our struggles. He will guide till the day is done. There is not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Did ever saint find this friend forsake him? No, not one. No, not one. Oh, sinner, find that he will not take him. No, not one. No, not one. Jesus knows all about our struggles. He will guide till the day is done. There is not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Where are a gift like the Savior given? No, not one. No, not one. Will he refuse us a home in heaven? No, not one. No, no. Jesus, Jesus knows all about our struggle. He will guide till the day is done. There is not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon. Once again, I'm here. My name is Motella, those maybe who have just come. I'm the moderator of this afternoon's session. Now, today we were supposed to have to listen, or this time we're supposed to listen to two papers. The 8th paper, which was supposed to be presented by Dr. S.A. Kapinde, sorry. Unfortunately, this paper is not available. And the next paper, which was supposed to be presented physically by Professor Stephen Mwoki, we have been communicating to him. He's outside the country on official duties, as I said yesterday, because he's a member of the Council of Domri. Now, we had agreed that he's going to send his presentation. He's going to present online. The IT people, are you ready with the presentation? So meanwhile, what am I going to be telling the participants? Because, yes. But he's saying he's connecting. Okay, come back to the podium and you still lead us a song of God. The chorus, you try the chorus which Margaret used to sing. Haiko mdomoni mwake. Alafu hizo nyimbo zenyewe kwa maana hivi. But I've requested zile verses weke kwa paper. 1 or 2.
I kindly request us to stand. IT, please project for us hymn number 226. Hymn number 226, as we prayerfully meditate on the lovely hymn, the lovely words of that hymn. 226, Jesus, my Lord, to thee I cry. Jesus, my Lord, to thee I cry. Hymn number 226. Jesus, my Lord, to thee I cry. Unless thou help me, I must die. Oh, bring thy free salvation nigh, and take me as I am. And take me as I am. And take me as I am. Oh, bring thy free salvation nigh, and take me as I am. Helpless I am and full of guilt, but yet for me thy blood was split, and thou canst make me what thou wilt, and take me as I am. And take me as I am. And take me as I am. And thou canst make me what thou wilt, and take me as I am. No preparation can I make, my best resolves I only break. Yes, save me for thy own name's sake, and take me as I am. And take me as I am. And take me as I am. Yet save me for thy own name's sake, and take me as I am. Behold me, Savior, have thy fear. Deal with me as thou seest me. Thy work begin, thy work complete. But take me as I am, and take me as I am, but take me as I am. Thy work begin, thy work complete, but but take me as I am.
Thank you very much. Your Holiness, I've thought of another way. If the presentation can be sent as a paper to us, then you can be able to project. Then somebody here, maybe Reverend Fundi, can be able to read. The challenge will come when questions will be raised, because we are not, the author is not here. It will be a challenge. But the obvious questions which can be given may be possible. Is that possible? Sorry? It is going to be projected. Okay. So, wait.
Okay.
We are connecting. It's not the camera. We can see.
How many minutes do I have? Okay, can I start?
No, let me introduce you first. Present
I
you
hope I
to
can
the
start to
audience.
do my presentation now. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
You can. Should I start? Yeah. Okay. No, I
Okay.
can't.
Let me introduce Professor Stephen Mwoki
I
before.
can hear from your phone, but from the computer I don't hear. Let me look for him.
Okay, Professor Stephen Mwoki Joshua is a full professor of history of Christianity. He has served as an academic academic staff at Pwani University since 2010. He has also served as a director, a board of undergraduate studies from 2017 to 2023, and chair of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies between 2014 and 2017. He has chaired numerous university-wide committees at Pwani University. The technology here is also failing me.
Okay. I want to believe you can all hear me. Good afternoon. Okay. Let me go on. Now, thank you so much for the introduction, Professor Matela. I really appreciate. I will go straight to speak over my paper, which I've titled "The Story of Missionary Florence Irene Deed." He was born in 1868, died 1958, and the establishment of Church Missionary Society mission among the Giriama people of Kaloleni between 1904 to 1920. Now, this lady, let me just begin by telling you a little bit about her. She is so unique because she was a woman, unmarried missionary, the first of her kind, not only to East Africa, but in the CMS, in the Church Missionary Society. Only one other lady had come to Mombasa called Harvey, and that was the first one to be sent as a missionary by the Church Missionary Society in the late 1885. And therefore, the coming of Florence Deed was quite a game changer, not only for the Kenyan mission, that is East Africa, but also for the entire Church Missionary Society. He was born. I will tell you a little bit about her history, her life, and also tell you a little bit about her contribution, what makes her stand out uniquely. First of all, although she is such a unique figure who established the work of Kaloleni mission, she is not written much about. In fact, there is an absence of her literature in the works that have consulted. Even very important church history works like that of Stock, written by Eugene Stock at the commemoration of Church Missionary Society 100 years in 1899, she is only mentioned once in the entire book of more than 400 pages as one of the few missionaries who were sent to Mombasa among a group of 20 women. But not only is she missing in that one, she is also missing in the entire archives of the Church Missionary Society, online archives that are available. Not even a single dedication is there on. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Okay. I continue. Okay. Let me continue. Thank you. So, yeah, she was also not anywhere mentioned by literatures that were done after 200 years. A book was published after 200 years, that is the year 2000, to celebrate the Church Missionary Society work. And that in that book also she is missing. Even when a whole chapter was dedicated to contribution of women in Church Missionary Society. The absence of this lady in records of CMS is alarming, to the extent that only a mention of the British in East Africa, somebody was putting together a collection of important women who were in East Africa between 1850s and 1950. And she is mentioned as one of the women that were in Kenya. But about her background, where she was born, when she came, and after her retirement in Kaloleni, there's not much mentioned. Yet, the people of Kaloleni know her so well and fondly. They called her Bididi, ama Mama Didi. She was so much of a Giriama than a British, by virtue of the life that she's remembered for. Well, of course, she retired at some point and went back to Hampshire in UK, where she later died at the age of 90 years. So let me quickly go to say something about her life. She was born in the year 18. She was born in the year 18. There's some things that are blocking me. Okay, I'm done with them. Yeah, sorry about that. So she was born she only came to Kenya when she was 25 years as a missionary. and she was born in 1868. And she lived in Kenya until she retired in the year 1930. And she went back and she died in 1958. So Florence did, I have a picture of her when she was a little bit quite young. She used to be called Florence Irene Deed. That was her full name. And she died a natural death. But before she came to Kenya, she had completed a degree in nursing from London Girls College in London, in a place called Willows. And that is when she applied to the CMS to do missionary work. Now, please note that she did not have a relative in Kenya. She did not follow a husband because she was not married. And also, she did not have a prior understanding of East Africa. All she knew was that she had sensed a call and replied to an interest to go and serve as a missionary. And she was granted a position by Church Missionary Society and was placed in Mombasa. Hold on there. I go back a little and tell you why I'm writing this paper and what is my interest in this woman. My intention is to reconstruct the story of Florence Deed. Besides two theses that have been done, one which I supervised together with Reverend Manjewa, done by Bishop Katite, and another thesis done at the University of Nairobi on Kaloleni. These two theses only focused on the work of Kaloleni, and they only ascribed the work of Kaloleni to her as the founding missionary. But her story, who she was, and what she did has never been accounted or put together in a form of a celebration of her life and contribution. So that's one. Two, it is important to write about her because the work of Kaloleni, including the town of Kaloleni, really is founded by her work. She is the person behind the mapping, the planning of Kaloleni, the establishment of the schools in Kaloleni like St. Luke Girls, St. Luke Hospital, St. John's Girls, and also the college, training college or institute that was established there many, many years ago by her. So she is unique, yet she has not been celebrated or even documented at all. So for that reason, is why I find it's very important to document this woman who had become more of an African than a British missionary. So let me now just go straight to talk a little bit about the context from which she came, the CMS. It is important to understand that Church Missionary Society had not been sending women for missions, but there was some three forces that were happening within CMS, especially by the year 1885. By that year, several things were changing within CMS. Number one, of that particular force that was changing, it was actually the internal thrust and agitation towards a direct employment of women missionaries. Before, you could come as a woman only if you are married to a man who is a missionary himself, or you would come if you are a relative, but you could not be hired by CMS and come as a missionary. But there had been pressure by women who were working back home to support missionaries, and they were saying, we can do it ourselves too, and we have a call, and we want to go to the mission field and do work there. It was in India, pressure was coming from India, Japan, and also in Africa, including East and West Africa. However, so that was a pressure that was building, and there is enough of documentation to show the need for that and the changeover and the revision for on policy with regard to sending women. And it only started in 1885, and note deed came just 2 years after that. Now, the other important force that was changing and leading to the coming of missionary deed is what I'm calling the internal realization and also a push for younger, educated graduates in the mission field. Before, missionaries who were coming were a little bit more advanced in years, and they did not need to have had a degree qualification or any particular specialization. But the work at the field, like in Kenya, for example, had moved beyond just the work of translation and discovering Mount Kenya, discovering, the lake and all that. By the time she was coming, actually, a lot of things had been done, including mission establishment in Uganda. But now there was need for more younger and trained nurses, teachers, and younger people who could engage, especially women, who could engage with the bigger population, which was women. And therefore, that was also a turnaround. And this is evidenced by the provision or revision of the policy on marriage, that you don't need to be married to come for mission field. In fact, there was a letter that was written by the leaders of the Church Missionary Society demanding that this policy be revised. And we see that being revised in the year 1884. Another important push related to that was actually what you can call the Keswick letter. A group of leaders from the mission field met in a place called Keswick and wrote a letter to the leadership of Smith, asking that 1,000 missionaries be sent to the mission field immediately. And they were saying, on the basis of where the work of the Church Missionary Society has come so far, we need an urgent influx of new missionaries. And these are people from India, people from Japan, people from Africa, and other mission fields who went together and wrote a letter. And this letter was accepted, and I have cited it very clearly there, which was received well. And immediately after 1885, we see an influx of missionaries, especially toward early 1900. We see a lot of missionaries who a big number was actually received in Mombasa. And one of the bishops in Mombasa, the name actually is Bishop Tuka, was keen in demanding for these missionaries. He said he needed more than 200 missionaries immediately. And that was part of the movement for what is called the Keswick movement, the Keswick letter. So these three pressures led to the coming down of, or you can say, more vacancies, and therefore younger women and trained. And remember, Deed had just graduated with a degree in nurse. Now, let me say just briefly about her work, just before I lack time. When Deed came to Mombasa, she was not placed directly to Kaloleni. No, she came and was placed first of all in Rabai. And in Rabai, she joined with about 20 women who are very active in helping with the slave trade, the freed slaves, training them in education, in language, in learning how to read and write. And soon after, she was moved from Rabai and placed in Prayer Town, where she continued with the work of teaching freed slaves. And remember, by this time, freed slaves had become the key method of reaching the African, because they had converted and they were they understood the terrain and the context much better. And therefore, they became a very important tool for evangelism. Beyond that, there was a hospital that was opened by a sultan who was in charge of Zanzibar. He opened a hospital in Mombasa town, in the island. And these young women missionaries became very resourceful in providing treatment and care for both the Arabs and the Africans. It did not matter whether you are Muslim or you are a Christian or just an African. And they all came for treatment in Mombasa town. And Deed was very active there, practicing Hana, but at the same time witnessing to those that she could reach. But it was within that context that she sensed the need to go and begin work in Kaloleni. Now, let me just say what was happening in Kaloleni by then. A few missionaries had attempted to just visit and pass by, but not much had been done. The key oldest center of work among the Giriama people by the Church Missionary Society or even by Christianity was in Furudoyo, where this young man who was a runaway missionary, a runaway slave from Rabai, and after he had accidentally killed his wife, ran away and established a Christian village, a Kitoro, as it used to be called, a Kitoro Christianity, a village in Furudoyo. But that village, of course, was dismantled later by the Arabs because it became an attraction of runaway slaves, and there was still a contestation on who should run away and whether you should lose your slave. And therefore, this gentleman was killed in Urudoyo. But after that, the real established missionary work by the whites in Giriama land was that in a place called Gilore. Gilore had been established in 1890, but several missionaries were actually not successful. And therefore, people would go there and would die. And there were several that went there. It was a very difficult terrain. And after so many challenges there, with the coming of this deed in Giriama land, in Kaloleni, Kaloleni replaced this other center as the key center of Southern Christian mission in Giriama land. And so Kaloleni overtook Gilore in terms of centrality of Christian expansion after the opening of the work there in 1904 by this lady called Deed. So Deed went there in 1904 and started to work among the people there, but soon she was joined by another lady, Miss McKay, who joined hands with her. And so Kaloleni came to be known the mission field of the women missionary. The two ladies were very active. They started the school, and I want to skip the activities because they are very detailed. I will not tell you a lot about, but there is detailed work, much of it done by Bishop Katite in that thesis work, where he has covered with a fine comb what was actually established over the years. But more important is the narratives of the people of Kaloleni themselves, the way they fondly describe this lady. She was three things to them, and I want to quickly describe them. One, she was an evangelist. She moved around in that town, being carried by four men across the very difficult terrains of Kaloleni, the hilly place, and she witnessed to the people and started a church right in Kaloleni, where we have the parish today. In addition to that, she was also a great defender of the Kaloleni people. How do I know that? There is a statement. She used to attend all British meetings. She would not miss a single meeting. And she talked in defense of the Giriama people and wanted to make sure she understands that any decision the government was taking was appropriate and friendly to the people of Giriama. But instead, actually, she suffered a big challenge when the Giriama uprising started in 1914. She had to be taken away because of security issues, because the Giriama uprising was against the British, remember, and she was British. But she was taken back to Rabai together with the Mackay. They stayed there for 6 months, 8 months, and then they came back after the whole uprising had ended. In fact, when they came back, the elders of the Giriama elders, required of them to pay a penalty of several goats for them to be accepted back, which she did. And the penalty was as a result of her being accused by the Giriama people that she brought a calamity, she brought a bad omen, her presence, of course, together with the association with the British. But she did that and was received again by the Giriama people and continued to do much work. In fact, after 1914, she did even greater work among the Giriama. That is the time she opened the hospital. So she was a great healer, I'm arguing, because she introduced Western medicine to the Giriama people and continued to do a lot of healing among them. And she also was a great educator. She actually taught, even translated into Giriama language subjects, the first from Kiswahili to Giriama. And there is evidence of documents that we found with Mzee Chengo, who is one of the great son of an evangelist. Chengo himself worked with Dee, and he was a teacher and also a lay leader. But his son, who is now a retired man in Kaloleni and very resourceful, and in interviews with him, he told me, and told us, our research team, how his father learned from Dee and how Dee helped them, teaching them geography, teaching them simple subjects using the Giriama language. If I was projecting, and maybe in the future I'll be able to do that, and you will see that in my paper, you will see her actual pictures, her actual handwriting, and document that she developed, including a class register of all the teachers that she was handling. And so in conclusion, let me say that it is quite unfortunate that this lady, of course, when she finished her work and retired back home, not much has been documented about her. In fact, she wrote a diary. I found the diary myself. I have used it as part of my data, besides the oral interview. That diary she wrote between 1914 and... Hello? My time is up? 5 minutes. I'm just concluding. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just concluding. Thank you. Manchewa, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I stopped for 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Have gone a notch higher using technology. I hope you have noted the issues of concern. When the microphone will be set, then we'll go to all of us who have got issues for clarification and questions to actually pose to Professor Moki. So just 5 minutes, then we'll be there.
Yes, Reverend Manche. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes, I just wanted to conclude here. No problem. Okay. So I am given a few minutes to conclude, and I'm happy to do that. I will just need like 3 minutes. So I wanted to say that the lady missionary Deeds, as she is popularly known, was very instrumental in Kenya. She is not known in literatures. CMS has totally forgotten her, even when they have written books and history books on 2 centenary books, one of 100 years, the other one of 200 years. She is truly a Giriama because her memory, her biggest story of life, her biggest contribution has been in Kaloleni. Since she was 25 years and left here when she was about 80 years, she has given her whole life to Kaloleni. She is remembered by people of Kaloleni as the Miss Deed or Mama Deed, their very own. People like Chengo, a grandchild of her teachers, people who worked with her, know her very well in her establishment. It is only important that the church in Africa, the church in Kenya, the church in Kaloleni celebrate her. And one way of celebrating her is to document about her and tell her story, which is not in script. That's number one. Number two, I find that the lady missionary Deed has done exemplary well. She is the first in many things among CMS and also across missionary work in Africa, in India, and all over the world at her time. Why? Because she, the never married girl, was so daring enough to go into a land not known by her, without a relative, and do such a unique establishment in Kaloleni. Be the first missionary to start up work in a new community. Giriama land has not known as such a successful missionary work as compared to what missionary Deed has done in Kaloleni. And as I argued, Kaloleni took over from Jilori and it became a big center of establishment. We know how many schools were established, how many, they were called the bush schools, and how much she educated the Kaloleni people. It is actually sad that Kaloleni, which was by far overtaking all the towns, should have, it was by then the district center of the Giriama land. But Kilifi took over at some time, and even Malindi. These were junior to Kaloleni. But the heritage of Kaloleni is bigger than the town as it were today. And so my parting shot is to say that she is worthy of being remembered. We need to put together more of documentary, especially as we celebrate our life and remember the work of Kaloleni 100 years. And now we are moving to probably 150 soon. Thank you so much for listening to me. The paper is under review and improvement, and I'm sure it will be a great reading soon. Thank you. I'm done.
Can you hear me? I'm walking. Can you hear me? Hello, Professor Mwoki. Can you hear me? Hello. Calling you.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Haya, mwingine.
Reverend Fundi, I lost you, Afundi. Yeah, sorry, I had lost you. Yeah, and now I can hear you. Yeah. Thank you. Mm.
One question comes out.
Mm-hmm.
After
Mm.
One is wondering
Mm-hmm.
how come talk about
Mm-hmm.
and she passes without critical analysis. Her, like most of the then counterpart. There's something weakness. I'm not aware of the character passing so smooth.
Mm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can I respond? Thank you. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Can you do that one? Okay, go to that one, please.
Okay, thank you, thank you, Professor Kadogo. Thank you so much for that question. It is a very important question. It is something that I've thought through. Can you hear me? And now I can hear you now. Okay, good. Yeah, I was saying, Dr. Gadogo, Professor Gadogo, thank you so much. That is a question I've thought through hard about this lady. And it looks like, yes, I know the critique that has been there previously and on many missionaries, how they were unable to partner with Africans and became either racist or part of the extension of the colonial project of the missionary. Let me say this. I found Deed very unique. Very unique. In fact, to be fair, she was a problem for the British government more than they were very uncomfortable with her as far as her position with regard to the issue of Kaloleni. Remember, first of all, she was very opposed to slavery. Okay, and she was, and the government that time was pro non-slavery, and so that worked very well. There was no problem with that, and she gained a lot of trust by the Giriama people after some time, of course. But the challenge that was there for her is that she used to be carried by 4 men using a sackcloth and two big trees, like 2 logs, carrying her across from one place to another because it was difficult for her to travel around. That is what I only found to be unique. But remember, that was the means of transport for most of the persons, especially the whites in up country beyond the rivers and the terrain. And so in that context, yes, she was, I don't know whether these men who carried her were unhappy, and I did not see any unhappiness. In fact, the interviewees that talked about her explained how she was always friendly. They used to sing songs, Giriama songs with her. There is even a popular song. If I had time, I would have played it for you. It was sung very well by Katite in Giriama. The song that even the people there sang up today. She was not in. She translated. She lived with the people among them. Even was not scared to be killed by the Giriama people because she did not have much security at that time. And she represented the Giriama people in colonial government boards. And I can read you some of the sections that she was, where she actually confronted British government on the rights of the Giriama people. And so I wish I can get something negative. I'm yet to find, I'm searching. I have not found something that either the Giriama elders were happy about her or something that she did that was strongly opposed, apart from the fine that was given on her of the goats because of running away from them at a time of calamity. That is all. And so maybe my sources, I will need to dig more sources to find, but I am happy about your question. But I also come from the point of view that missionaries have been unfairly criticized as if they did not have interest in the local people. And they've been brushed with one single big brush, that they were not good, they did not love the people, they did not love their culture. Here is a lady who went out of her way to identify with the Giriama people. I don't know about the foods, I don't know about the clothing, but she treated them using Western medicine and educated them and made sure they are able to read the Bible. And most of them became very successful leaders from Kaloleni. Those that, including the members of parliament, the earliest politicians of Kaloleni, were actually beneficiaries of higher education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Prof, can you hear me? I'm now using a microphone. Can you hear me? Members? Professor Moki, who know Domri tasks we have been given is to collect materials which you can keep in our archives. I hope as you're doing your research, you have talked about things like handwritten messages, those people in those days. I hope you are collecting this document so that we can put them archives. Thank you.
For raising that, actually it is happening. We are already taking the photos with the project that with the project at TUM and with the Domri. Pictures are taken. Collection of these documents have been handed over by Mzee Chengo and others, and it is happening as we talk. And I'm actually a beneficiary of that digitization work that is already ongoing for this paper. And a very valuable collection will be there for Kaloleni people to continue the story and the history of this very important mission. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, for clarity purposes, could you tell us the coverage of the geographical coverage of Kaloleni? Was it where the current church is within that village, or it covered a vast area?
The starting point for, actually the entry point of missionary deed was through, she went through the ocean all the way, but when she got there, up the hill is where she started her first evangelistic church. I need to do a proper segregation between where the hospital is and where the church is and where the girls' school is. But that's within that geography, up the hill, that is where she started her first church. And there are even pictures of that early prayer setting. But as far as coverage of her work after that, she opened so many other branches. Of course, some were done by other missionaries who came after her, but she is the one who invited them to make sure that the work had started before she went for retirement in 1930. And this work spread in the entire south of Giriama land. With branches, you can talk about Jaribuni, you can, I mean, it's a list of churches that were begun after Kaloleni and schools that were begun after Kaloleni. And these ones, of course, were offshoots of our work. But yes, it is right at the center where we have the current the current missionary church built, where we have SEK right now.
And why Kaloleni? Why couldn't he settle at Bate or Mwijo? Why? What was there in Kaloleni that had to settle there? Is it the climate was conducive for her?
It was also a preferred place by the Giriama people. They considered the place a very centenary, a good place to view far and see. So when she came, already Kaloleni as a settlement, as a place, it was more populated than other places by the Giriama people. But I think it's a good question to understand why she went there and not anywhere around in other places. But I can only deduce from what other missionaries did, the issue of weather and the issue of security, higher place, and also easy to collect water. Because when you build up there, you are able to collect water for yourself and provide. It is the same thing missionaries from CMS were doing whenever they went to other places. They would go to higher places. Even in Rabai, it is a little bit on the higher end. And remember, in Rabai, Dr. Ludwig Kraft did not want the establishment of the missionary work to be up there. At first, he wanted it to be down there on the ground next to the sea. But when he went to the UK, by the time he came back, Revman had moved the mission station up to where Rabai is built today. And so it was like a pattern. I think she was also following from Rabai, a higher place, cooler place, and with better view and the water catchment resource.
Okay, another question. Didi was a woman, right? She was a woman and she established a church. And that time, women were not ordained. So who did the baptisms? Who did the priestly duties?
The bishops visited Kaloleni several times, including Bishop Tuka. He visited Kaloleni several times during her stay there. And usually what the bishops used to do, Bishop Tuka would go to Taita, ordain and baptize people. He would go around quite a lot. And I found a lot of literature of the visits of Tuka. And when he would come, he would do a lot of those clerical work. However, with the time, also, missionary did started having, was accompanied by African agents, African male, who some were like Chengo. Chengo himself was what you would call not a minister, but the lay leader. But I have a photo of Chengo with another minister already working in Kaloleni that time. So she had developed local African workers with time. The first few days, I think it was support of the people of Rabai who would come and help with such kind of clerical special work.
Now, Prof, you said Didi was there from 1904 to 1920, right?
She was there between 1904, that's when she was in Kaloleni. But before that, she went to Mombasa around in 1888. I'm here to check, 88 or 89.
Now, I want you to look at your facts correctly. Mm-hmm. If I'm not wrong, you said he built a hospital, right? He started a hospital, and unless it's another one, if you're referring to St. Luke's Hospital, our records show it was built in 1927. And she left in 1920. Now, you need to reconcile your facts with this date. We don't hear you.
You cannot hear me?
No.
Okay. I want to say that your question is important because it's about the chronology of event, whether she is the one who actually opened the school. But you see, I mean the hospital. But you see, before the hospital started, there was a lot of starting the treatment, which was more of a dispensary. I have here in my record that the present St. Luke's Hospital was started in 1929. Okay, and the Vocational Training Center was started in 1927. The girls' school, St. Joseph, was started in 2017. However, in 1914, our work in Kaloleni was already, she had started to put together treatment center, like a dispensary. The year you are talking about is actually the full establishment of a school or a hospital. Remember, by that time, she had already been teaching people. She had already been treating people. So when it comes, even when we talk about a church being built, already there was several versions of the church before it was actually constructed the way we know it today in St. Luke. So it's about that progression. And but I will take the question more seriously when I'm writing. I will try to separate.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mine is just a comment now. Thank you very much, Bwana Mwoki. Of course, I was wondering whether you presented that paper, where will be with you, Zimbabwe, Mashingo, because that is the paper they need, I thought. But I was wondering, not wondering now, I only want to give you an input with reference to finding out whether she was literally born, if she was so connected with Africans, the way you are talking about in those days of patriarchy, racism, okay? You remember those you're talking of 1904, 1920, the rule of men. Also find out why is she so powerful. Don't necessarily answer me, give an answer right now. But as you work out the paper, find out why she is too powerful. That is uncommon. That's not usual those days. Of course, that's a unique paper anyway, to find a woman who is so powerful during those dark days of our history. She's so powerful. In fact, the bishop asked how was she baptizing, because it fell short of saying she confirmed people, she baptized people. She looks powerful, which is good. I admired it, really. I was cheering like a football game because I like that. But I was left with a few questions, whether you could still work out and find out why all that. Was there a clergy in that parish, that Karoreni, who was overshadowing her? You know how we cut people, even in universities. We know how people are cut. Professor, I don't want to say more when you're around because you're my senior.
I hear you. Thank you. Very helpful.
I beg for, there's a hand up.
Okay.
The last one, because we just use one mic. Let's use one mic. We'll confuse the last one because time is.
Okay, thank you, Professor Mwoki. What happened according to what you presented, 1898, there is something happened in the mission did not went to Jilore. It was not successful, actually. Maybe you can expound on it a bit. In 1898, the mission to Jilore was unsuccessful. What happened? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jilore was a difficult ground. So many missionaries had been sent there after it had been opened in 1890 by Looking for the name is missionary David something, if not John. I have the names, but when they opened that, many people, they died. The priest died, and another couple was sent there. They also died. The reason was that there was a lot of mosquitoes next to the river there. You know, there is a river, if you've been to Dilore, there's a big river, and the vegetation, it was harboring a lot of mosquitoes. So tropical diseases like malaria were very high. Many were dying even very young. And the death was just too high. When there was even one Thompson, his grandson visited Dilore recently. Actually, was taken a photo by, we have a photo with the Katite on the grandson of Thompson, who was one of the ministers there. But the difficulty was just the death, but also the reception of the people in Dilore. It was not happening that fast. However, when this gentleman by the name, his name is he just 1 minute. This is very important. This gentleman, he is called Harvey. He had been very successful in working in Uganda. Okay, and the work in Uganda was going very well, but there was some persecution there, which would not allow him to continue to be there. Yes, I found the name. Dilore was opened by a man called Biography Smith in 1890. Okay, and it was so hard, as I had said. Several ministers had died there. Then finally, Dr. Douglas Cooper was sent there in 1892. 1892, he went there and was able to put together quite a congregation of close to about 100 people, and that was very successful. But his wife died, and also his child died. The same reason, malaria. Okay, and that was a big blow. And remember, Cooper is a very big name in missionary work by that time. He was actually coming from a very successful work in Uganda. But after the killing of a bishop there, the bishop, when the bishop was killed, he was told not to continue with his journey back to Uganda. And he went back to UK for some time, then he came back. And when he came back, he went straight to Dilore. And so he was a little bit successful. But you see, by that time, when he is trying to pick ground, in 1892, Kaloleni was speaking in 1894. And therefore, then it was like he was beginning the work afresh in Dilore. And so Kaloleni picked even more fast and became a key center. And why was Dilore so difficult? I think the biggest part is the disease and the proximity to water. The death rate of the white missionaries was just too high. And that is, for me, the biggest reason. Of course, there could be other reasons, but that was key. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. There are many more comments, but because of time, for the sake of time, we are going to end there. There may be comments which may be sent you through our wall. And my request is that, can you please tonight forward your full paper to Dr. Mwangi so that we can have it? Okay, thank you. I'm told you have already.
I will improve it more with this comment and send it again.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's give him a round of clap. He will hear.
Thank you.
Prof, you can hear that. Thank you very much. Let me hand over. the mic to the manager. They are consulting there. We are waiting for the consultation, please. Daktari, madaktari, fanya haraka. The doctors there. I want to hand over this mic to you. Yes, please. Come for it.
Tumpigie makofi moderator wetu. Let's do a clap, a nice one. Thank you very much, Prof, for that. And also the presentation was good. Now we are coming to almost an end. There's one announcement I want to make a bit early before I forget. The DOM remembers, basically the researchers, the purpose of the workshop or the training tomorrow. When we are going out for tea, when we are leaving this room, let us remain behind. At this particular time, I think I want to call Prof to come and say something. Karibu. Who's going to do? I want Dr. Manjewa. Please, just have a seat. Sit a bit. Please come and introduce Prof, please, kindly. Pole for that. Yes, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Okay, sawa.
You know, this is a full prof, so I'm trying to get his profile here. Need to go online and get it.
So let me introduce Professor Gathogo. Julius Gathogo, PhD, is a distinguished professor in oral and mission histories of ANCCI. He will tell us what that stands for because it is not here in full. University, a long-serving lecturer of Kenyatta University and a researcher, fellow of the Research Institute of Religion and Theology, UNISA, South Africa. He is a widely published author with over 200 publications. Congratulations, Post. As book chapters, clap for him. Individually authored books, co-authored works, co-edited works, and publication in referred journals. He is the editor-in-chief of Jumuga, Journal of Education, Oral Studies, and Human Sciences. And there's the short form there, JJEOSSHS in brackets. Welcome, Professor Gathogo. I'm presenting to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mwatera. Very much. You can't remember you were helping me in your office when you were in TUM, and I was combining three institutions for a major research, though we were not funded.
Did you pay for it?
No, you are a good man. You are just a good man. Thank you very much. I remember you, and I'm very happy actually to find you here today. The Bishop of Institute of Mombasa, Dr. Baya, the chair, that's Dr. Manjewa, the chair of Diocesan Research Team, the leadership of the Diocesan Research Team in general, the House of Clergy, Dr. Michere Sikh. I can hear another Michere. There were two. There's another one in Kenya. I don't know. There is Archbishop Emeritus, Professor Mwatera, so many people, discussants, the sponsors, visitors, and all protocols observed. I salute you all in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you. I said, not now salute, and go on. I proceed on very quickly, I'll not take long, to offer my apologies for losing or missing out, or actually losing my diary first. Hence, the reason why I missed out on some critical papers that were presented here. This is where I belong. I enjoy more in my career, listening and commenting. And when I missed, because of my diary and those who know me all the years, from Form 1 to Form 6, I read at night. Murutu knows that. Hata kule Limuru mimi nalala usiku wote nasoma. Hata mchana nalala. Sio? Na niko sawa. Kama paka. Naona usiku sana. I read at night. So me, I worked the whole night. Now at 6, I went to sleep. At 10, I started receiving cell phone. I no calls. I had to rock off my phone. But then when I saw an SMS from somebody I not mention, a very senior person who is in this room, I woke up quickly, bathed after just 4 hours of sleep. You know, I have to sleep 6 to 8 hours for you to be healthy, isn't it? So I have to sleep only for 4 hours. Dr. Manjewa told me, can we keep food for you? I told him, I'm driving. If I eat food, I'll collapse. I'll cause an accident because I will start dozing because I've not slept enough. Are we there? But I'm strong. I'm still young. Who said I'm old? I'm okay. No, you say I'm very old. No, I'm okay. Chair, allow me to make my few remarks on Christian Biography Conference in Mombasa and winding up of this auspicious occasion and indeed a momentous event. Now, from the very outset, let me say that this quest to reclaim the voices of unsung heroes and heroines is a welcome move. There's some echo in this microphone. Have you noted that? It's okay. Yeah, see it getting okay. It is a step in the right direction. It is one of the many approaches that Africa will utilize so as to recapture her hidden histories and eventually understand itself. From a simple web search, you note that I, Julius Gathogo, have published several biographical histories. A simple web search, isn't it? Mainly corrected from elderly people. And one of the most successful oral history research that I feel proud of among over 50. Of course, we have said over 200 in total, but the biographical ones, about 50. They are there, you can just search. Google, read free, you not pay, free of charge. Even a cup of tea, is the one we carried with the Bishop of Mombasa, who is seated here. Bishop Dr. Baya. That's the one I'm very proud of, more than anything else. In 2015, we traveled from Mombasa, cruised through past Maridi, crossed the Skiaring and Fiand River Sabaki, but didn't reach Lamu. Where Mboko, is it? Who are there in Al-Shabaab? We didn't reach there. We are lucky. There are terrorists there. But we really drove my Mark II. Really, we were together and we really interviewed people. We really had our time anyway. By then he was not a bishop. Sasa siwezi kumkaribia hivyo. He wasn't a bishop. We interviewed several people on the second Anglican cleric in Kenya to graduate with a theological degree in early 1960s. And the first cleric in the history of Kenya to win a parliamentary seat after rigorous campaigns way back on 6th of December 1969. Also the first man, or the man who actually gave us the wand, O God of all creation, bless this nation. That is national anthem. These are ones of one man, the Honorable Reverend Thomas Kuto Kalume is from here, this area. We were excited and happy to listen to stories from people who were connected to him. We really enjoyed it. So that is Reverend Thomas Kuto Kalume, who made history. John Beatty was the first first cleric to get a theological degree in Kenya. Kalume was second. Bishop Henry Okuru was the third. And David Gitari, Archbishop David Gitari was the fourth Anglican cleric to graduate with a theological degree. This quartet changed Kenya's biosocial historiography. Since that 2015 publication, where we researched with Bishop Baya, the response in London, US, and locally has been very encouraging. Right now, as we talk, family members' curiosity, which went up, have requested that we publish now a book about their father. They also understood him through this biographical research. Other people in Zimbabwe asked me to write Kalume and Education, Kalume and Development. I wrote another paper. So it forced me to write more and more papers. And the response, I can't explain. It's really beyond expectations. Kenyans came to recall the actual composer of the Kenya national anthem. And indeed, Kalume's contribution to the young Kenyan nation was brought back to the map of the world. If you wanted to forget the Reverend Thomas Kuto Kalume, who died very young out of a heart attack in March 1975, you can't now forget him. We have put him in the web. You read him permanently now. He'll be read even the next 500 years. There will be such a man. Kenyans will never forget Kalume because of what we did. So his memory was reconstructed for the greater good of the particular and the general populace. Now, other biographical writings on pioneer women of faith, women freedom fighters, the Mau Mau, and write-ups on storytelling techniques, oral history techniques, post-colonial techniques, autobiographical techniques by Ngugi wa Thiong'o and Wole Soyinka, which also applies to church historians, because these are methodologies. We have published quite a number along that line. And they continue to help us to invite diverse forms of recognition, which makes us proud people. When you go to another corner, even of the world, you hear people saying, Professor Katogo. You don't call yourself professor, but they are calling you Professor Katogo because of that recognition. People from that other accent, those other accents from that other corner, you see how they are appreciating you because they see you can profess something. You have something you can tell. Biographical is not bad. So now let me say something. I said I will not talk much. The Mombasa conference today, 23rd to 25th April 2024, today, which I almost missed. Were it not for an SMS I got at 10 and started preparing, still dozing. Now I'm okay. Let me say this. Although I almost feel this year, after over 200 publications, they are over. And some are not, nobody told you whether you published it or not. You asked for a book chapter. You don't follow it. There are many. And I like the job, passionate about it. In fact, Bishop of Kirinyaga has called me to teach clergy on academic writing and how to document the whole day, 2 days, so that we start writing and correcting these oral things you are doing. Maybe they are copying from you, Bishop. They are doing these things. I've been told by Bishop Keboshwa to come. 2 days I'll be teaching them until they start doing these things I do. But of course, this is where I get more money, not anywhere else, by the way, writing. Here, hapo ndipo posho iko. Posho hapa. Iko hapa. But you have to be clever how you navigate, how you do your things. Waweza chimba ukose. Sababu hujui kuuza, hujui inauzwa wapi. Hujui soko. If you don't know the market, you are writing, you don't know where to sell your product. You may be broke and unhappy because you don't know the technique. Si namna hiyo, unafanya mambo ile Wakikuyu wanaita kiundudho or recklessly. Kiundudho tu, yani recklessly tu una mpango. So tuna mpango, ndio tuko hapa na tunashukuru Mungu. So I'm not coming to brag about, no. I'm trying to say some of these realities around, not intended to be harmful or anything. So although I might look like I'm feeling a bit lazier as I enjoy, some of my students are really doing it very well. People whom I have mentored very well, they are professors all over, they are all over, especially young universities. People mentored from zero to no to somewhere. I still feel excited about writing. I'm encouraged by the illustriousness of the Majewa team. In fact, I'm happy you are doing this. Me, I feel like I'm exhausted because there are a lot of things I can't say. I'm too busy. I was to receive a call, even journalists asking me from London, New York, about Shakahora, my friend. I don't live there, but the fellow, you be doing Googling, if not Google. Do Google search and you'll be seeing even newspapers there. Those out there, because of these works I've been doing. You see, that's the kind of life now I lead. And I'm very much excited to see the kind of young people who are in your team, who are writing those papers. I feel happy because I now know hii kitu ina wenyewe sasa. Na hiyo ndio kuwa mzee, when people start doing things that you started and they even do it better than you feel happier than anything else. So I'm delighted by your illustriousness, your sense of purpose, your dedication to this project, and your good program that explains, everything is black and white. Put it very clear. Our people used to say, if you cut one gigantic mugumo tree, more vibrant trees will sprout up. So I'm seeing such a scenario. I can see something of more of a replica of that. It resonates well with what I've been doing since 1998, with a lot of discouraging remarks. Those days I didn't know some techniques to Google, not to do what? To move, to maneuver my ways. I didn't have those techniques as I am more equipped today. You cannot now frustrate me. I'll look for other avenues because I'm experienced. Hapana, wezi mimi kuniweka at stress. Hapana, no, I'm old. Yeah, I have been in the field now for years. Wewe nitakuacha wewe ukikataa na mambo yako nitasonga tu. So what I'm saying, there was a lot of discouragement when I started collecting these oral materials. My friend, some equated it or historical data biographical researches as love of gossips. You know, gossiping man, you know, in Africa is a very bad tag. You know that. And you see, there are those fellows trying. Even one of my mentors, another professor in Nairobi University, I'm now retired. I'll not mention him here because mutamjua. He started asking me. Later on, I noted he has even joined this, what do you call it, this dictionary, that dictionary in the web, and this. He's a member today. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, I'm unable to get the abbreviation right. Some people known to you would equip. Why not write what you studied? Why not write philosophical things? You've done systematics. It's philosophical. You analyze Pannenberg. You analyze Macquarie. Is it John Macquarie? You analyze, I said, what about John Beatty, who wrote a PhD in New Testament, Greek, realizes not helping his people. The man from Kitui started African theology to help the people understand themselves in light of culture. And we say he's the greatest man because he made us understand ourselves. Culture and gospel debate is Beatty. He never trained in it. But you see, when you are given power to lead that PhD, me, I've done 3 PhD, history, theology, and education. I've done 3. But you see now, you understand, when you're given power to lead, why are you given power to lead? To lead, and to lead is to lead. Kwani kuna definition ingine? To lead, just that. Power to lead. You can lead what you want to lead. Simple. What appeals to you. That is it. And that's what Nelson Mandela said. I don't want to be a president after 5 years. I'll do what appeals to me. Now I have what it takes to bring freedom in this country. Why should I not now go to do my things as an independent man? Why should I be a president? It's okay to be free and happy. So I didn't want to talk much, my dear. I don't know why this disease of talking is coming. Just 125 minutes. Let me try and now don't get out of the text. So I was saying, some would tell you, average people talk about people. Why are you talking about people in your writings? But I would remind such seniors that chroniclers are there, even in the Bible, and aren't viewed as non-intellectuals. Think of St. Luke's story of Jesus. Was he quoting it from some authorities from Germany and Cambridge? He simply brought stories about Jesus as a participant observer and from what he learned from verifiable, credible sources. If he didn't tell the true story, that was not adulterated whatsoever. We still do not know what the ministry of Jesus would have shaped up. Further, St. Paul's contribution is largely gathered from the letters he wrote, which is part of oral history. Now, when some well-decorated Africans insist that we write about the pioneer Archbishop of Canterbury from Augustine of 597, Justus of the year 624, Anselm of 1093, Richard Grant of 1229, Thomas Cranmer of 1533, my friend. Who else? Randall Davidson of 1903 to 1928 and his involvement with the Kikuyu Conference of 1913, and George Carey of 1981 to 2002, or even the current Archbishop, Justin Welby. I don't know you call it Welby, who taught as a volunteer teacher in my village secondary school in 1980s, who then will capture the non-recorded, the non-documented histories of men and women of Africa who lie on unmarked graves, 6 feet under the soil, if at all they were buried. Who will liberate Africa through writing? How can people be free without writing about themselves? How can the true story of a lion be known if the hunter is the one who is writing it? Can it be fair? Think of it. They said the British anthropologist Edward Taylor, who wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote a lot about Africa and equated them with animists. My friend, you know, the animals in Congo forest, the chimpanzees and all that, but never ever stepped on the soil of Africa where our ancestors were buried. So he misread a whole Western society about Africa. Yet, hanja kanyanga mchanga wa Afrika. Ajui iko wapi, aliandika, akapotosha watu, akarundi biguni. So it is good to write about Africa. I'm not saying non-Africans should not write about Africa. No. It's a research. Anyone can research about Africa. It's okay. But there should be a lot of contribution, more contribution from Africa. And it should be the way we have done it today. So we are glad. Now, if we keep on repeating Adolf Hitler versus Winston Churchill's supremacy battles during the Second World War, or the European Crown battles, as in the case of Germany versus the British in East Africa during the so-called First World War, or you can say European War that was fought, who then will write about Archdeacon Mweri of Maridi, whose grandson is a bishop of Mombasa, the oldest diocese in Kenya, though ironically, our leader is certainly among the youngest in the history of the very same thing, diocese you are talking about. Who will tell about those stories really? Nobody, if we have abdicated that role. So, my final page, the Americans are writing that Obama was elected as one of the youngest American presidents at 42. But what about Mombasa diocese? Nobody is writing what went on. Yeah, nobody is not writing. It will be something. Let's write something. That's an example I'm giving. It may not mean much to your contemporaries. What you are writing today can even be dismissed by your contemporaries. But they ought to have power as time was on. You remember the fight between John Beatty in Makerere University in 1969, John Beatty and the man we buried here, so Hari Mazrui, they were all professors from Kenya. But when Beatty wrote a book, African Religions and Philosophy, the first person to raise up his hand in Makerere University is his own Kenyan, Hari Mazrui. He said, no. You cannot combine African philosophy and African religion. They don't match. And you know, a professor will make a good argument. That's why he's a professor, professing something. And a kitu anajua si namna hiyo. Even doctor can doctor. What about a professor? Si atavuka juu si namna hiyo. Ani mabingwa ni wanapigana madonde. Wewe unajua mambo ya kijeshi. Even. Sasa wewe hiyo vita ni aina gani? Hata ukisema uongo unakuwa kote kama ukweli. Even when you are not telling the truth, the fact that the brain is good, you can play around with once. And it was a very bad fight when Mazrui said no, and the Beatty put up a fight. You know, a man doesn't die like that. You put up a fight. And but then finally, the whole world discovered Beatty was right. Okay? And that book is the most quoted book, I think, in Kenya. If you go for the so-called Google Scholar search, you find that book is quoted by 10,000 people. And I don't think there's any Kenyan book, if Mazrui's book, that is quoted by as many people as that book of 1969, that brought a controversy in Makerere. So what am I trying to say? I'm saying you cannot please your contemporaries. Hii mambo unaandika sasa, sio sisi. Wale unaandikia uwajui. Uwajui, my friend. It is to whom it may concern. Waweza dharau kadhogo usina kadhogo yule mtu mfupi. Kwani mimi ni mfupi kushinda mwara? Unaona? You put me down. You put me down. We are used to this. But you see, what about, you know, you are seeing me, the physical height, isn't it? What about those who never see me, they will see my intellectual height. Some years, 100 years to come. Okay? Namaliza mkubwa. Naona umeamka na namaliza. Jua wakumbwa ni wakubwa. So, it may not mean much to your contemporary, what you are doing now. Okay, asante. Oh, sawa. I thought you were chasing me and I'm ending the talk. Sorry. Sorry, thank you. It may not mean much to our contemporaries, but it has a huge contribution 10 years, 100 years, 50 years, 500 years later. Hiyo mambo tumesoma Murutu na we mambo ya philosophy of Plato. Who wrote about Aristotle? One fellow never wrote. Aristotle never wrote. A student wrote about him. And you see, we read him how many years? Jesus also studied Aristotle and Plato's things before Christ. So you see now, you are not writing to us. You are writing to people who come. And so I may not mean anything to you. You may not even like me. But somebody will like me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yes, somebody somewhere will like me. Yes, so don't worry. Andika tu. You see, I've said the written ones lives longer than the writer. So in writing today, you are communicating to generations and generations that will come. So you are talking primarily to others who are not eyewitnesses of what you are writing. Further, if we don't write African Christian biographies, how shall we know about the Reverend Canon Jonathan Kituli? Born 1888, died 1964. How shall we know about David Coy? Born 1819, died 1885. Nobody. Go to the internet. They are not appearing. It's like Africans have no history. But it's suppressed by you and I. You are the enemy of yourself because you don't write about your grandparents. I wrote a book about my father. I brought it to you, isn't it? A copy, I thought I gave you a copy about my father. You know, when I started writing about my father, he was just a very ordinary village man, a very ordinary pedestrian, if not a hustler. Very ordinary man. People told me, there's nothing you are going to write. Hii ni mchezo wa paka na panya, haiwezi popote, wanacheza tu. But you see, once it came out, when he went to training at Kabete in 1930s, he was born in 1918, I'm a rusty born, in a big family of 80 people. From one woman, by the way. So, when I start writing how he traveled, people say, okay, it is making us even understand this locality because of the background. So, how shall we know unless Africans, we keep writing and getting friends like the ones who have supported you? We are not saying we keep our friends. We need friends. How shall we know about Mariam Mwangombe, 1914 to 2016? I gather that's the bishop's wife, isn't it? We have run a lot of Bishop Mwangombe himself. But what about this lady who kept the man? You know, there's no success if you don't have the other one, okay? You know, haiendi vizuri akivapo ninasema vile nimeona. Sijui Onyango ameona namna gani. Haikuangi mzuri. Better one than nothing. So Nimrod Mwakiwa Bonje, 1900 to 1986. Rose Mlale Mwandime, 1938 to 2013. Evangelist Margaret C.D. Kadizoba Shuari, 1942 to 2004. Dr. Agnes Regina Mulei Obuom, and her law-involved Council of Churches. Okay, huyo tumemjua. We know her a bit, because much has been written on Dr. Obuom. She's a scholar. Writing her own story, or she could have written. But what about these other people who are suppressed? Are we not worse than colonialists themselves? Are we not worse than terrorists if we are not writing about our own people? We are not eulogizing Africa. Who is going to nurture our mother Africa? Who is going to take care of Africa? One way is to record, so that our children will not become robots who don't know where they came from, what are their genealogies. Yet St. Luke has put the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Why would you deny other people information about themselves? Those who come many years to come. So that is a big error. And there are many forms of writing. If you don't have one, come I show you. There are many forms. Njia ni nyingi tafadhali, msiniambie hiyo. Ni nyingi sana. Dunia hii hata panya ruti ziko ama namna gani? Njia ni njia bwana, kwani bora utokezeka na ile nyingine, kwani kuna nini? Na usiharibu mambo ya watu. It is St. Paul in his book of Romans, chapter 10, 14, 15, who wonders, how can people hear the story about the good news unless there is a storyteller or the preacher? You know, preacher is a storyteller. How can they know unless the storyteller tells that story? So you see, this is not an option. Writing is not an option. Me, I can't sleep until I write something. If I take a week without writing something, I feel sick. Because I know I am the one, it's incumbent upon me to speak for the Mother Africa. And my specialty is Africa. I'm not trying to be a Pan-Africanist, like Marcus Garvey, who said Africa for Africans, Asia for Asiatics. No, I'm not a racist. Africa is like my father's house. So many rooms for everybody. Indians, Europeans, black, white, Ireland, it's for everybody. Even Chinese, they are welcome in Africa. But we have to write about Africa so that we document about Africa. Now, in view of this, let me end my long lecture. I wanted it to be shorter by thanking not just the Bishop of Mombasa, whose forward in that document I saw, very good, well done, typesetting, well done, everything well done, grammar well done. That program of yours, I like it, perfect. In that forward, because I read it, it acknowledges that, or it comes into terms with the reality that biographical research is a milestone. I like that. Biographical research is a milestone. I wish those guys who are discouraging me can hear this. Biological research is a milestone. Once of the bishop, mwenyewe. Sasa mtu kama anaomba Mungu anasikia na tunabarikiwa zaidi. Sasa amesema hiyo, si ni mwisho wa gari, mwisho wa reli ama namna gani? Kwisha, hiyo imeisha hivyo. So, namaliza. If the bishop can say it's a biographical research, that biographical research is a milestone and a critical missiological tool, but also the pioneers of the dictionary of African Christian biography, DACB, I wish to thank them. Since it was conceived in 1995 at the Overseas Ministries Tandy Center, then based in New Haven, Connecticut, it was eventually launched in 1998. I thank them, anyone who has supported this idea. Since then, it has helped to inspire Africans in Africa and the diaspora to feel proud of African heritage. It is the pioneer Pan-Africanist Marcus Garvey who used to say, to close the speech, he used to say this: people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Ati nini? Oh, people who don't know their past, they are just trees which will fall. And you see, that makes me remember J.M. Kariuki saying, Kenya is a tree growing very fast, and it is going to fall down because it's not rooted in the people. Well, that is a bit controversial from a politician. It will not fall. Now we have rooted it anyway. Let me hope so. But the point I'm making is, a tree without roots, my friend, what will happen? It will go, and you know it's already raining, my friend. My friend, it's already raining. Now you can't cross over CBD in Nairobi because of a tree that and no root, and it fell and close the road. So we don't want those trees without roots, Bwana Maina. And the solution, according to Marcus Garvey, ni usome, you write, and write, and read, and read, and read, till you feel like reading is your profession and your hobby. Now, through these biographies, the last sentence, scores of people will be able to retrace their roots. Their what else? What else? With their origin, their past history, their culture, and they will be inspired to become more productive to God and humanity. Asante sana.
Pigia makofi, Professor. Now you can see why he has 200 write-ups. Yeah? Yeah, the goodness is that, Professor Gathogo, you have accepted that you have to pass the baton. And since most of them are your students, we should be ready to retire so that they take up. In some areas, eh? Okay, so who is taking up your baton here among these? Anyway, those are just on the light touch. Since we are going towards the end, before I hand over this micro to the manager, my advice is this, for those researchers who are going to be taken through by Dr. Michelle. She's going to take you through the write-ups. And also there is an element of my observation is presentation techniques. I hope Dr. Michelle will also touch on this. Because you have, I told you yesterday that I'm in the engineering department, Coitech, but I also teach research methodologies. So I know that whatever topic you have, you'll have a title, you have objectives, you have the questions, then methodology, all those things. So when it comes also to presentation, it is important that you focus on what you have actually researched on. Then you go to the conclusion. That's my advice. Otherwise, thank you very much. It was not my time to talk. I was just supposed to summarize. Bwana manager, tafadhali, nikupatie microphone yako.
Asante sana. Tumpigie makofi tena Prof. Yes, we are coming almost to an end of this conference. It's been a pleasure listening to the presenters. I just want to say something little. When I was called to introduce Professor Julius Gadogo, I really didn't know what to say. But now I can introduce him. I knew Professor Gadogo when he was Dr. Gadogo, and the first time we met, it was in Kwale. And we were collecting data for the Digo mission. I remember he came with Dr. Manjewa. But one thing he impressed me was that he could speak. This man can speak. Because he dominated almost everything. So I'm now introducing him. And from the first day, I knew him as a scholar. He sold me a book that particular night, it was a night, called Mutira Mission. An African church comes of age, celebrating 100 years of the Mutira Mission. It's a very good book. I'll advise you to read that book. How many have read that book? Okay, thank you, exactly. Yeah, some people have read that book. When I went through it is when now it opened my mind. This guy is a scholar. I later met Professor Gadogo when I was part-time lecturer in KU here. We were meeting quite a number of times. At that time, I was teaching a master's students in public health, a unit on project monitoring. And what he has said is true. He told me that he reads at night and he can spend the whole night. This fellow is a scholar. And you know, one thing he didn't tell you, and I was waiting here to hear from him, he is an ordained Anglican clergy. I don't know whether I've touched on a hot wire. Okay, time. So, that's little about Professor Gadogo. I will want to request you to read more of his publications. He has done a lot. He also did assist us quite a lot when we were publishing the Digo Mission book. So having said that, and because of time, I want us now to go towards the end of our program, and I want to call the bishop or the chairman of Domri. I don't know who will take charge. I think they are both here to present the certificates.
Thank you, Bwana Manager. I've been consulting with Reverend Ofundi on the modalities of how we are going to issue these certificates. I think, retired Bishop, I will wish that both of you come. He does it, eh? But as he does it, I think you should also stand there. Yes, yeah, for the sake of this, so that it is seen that you, because this is your, yeah, please, Father, he's our patron, so we cannot leave him out. So, Dr. Fundi, Mr. Fundi, yeah, we just give me one at a, with the end. The first, she's not here, is Reverend Dr. Canon Dorcas Kumu. So if we mention, please come over. Lete bahasha tafadhali. Reverend Kennedy Ofundi, are you here?
Yes, I am here, sir.
Where is the envelope? Upande huo, angalia kamera. Kamera iko upande gani? Yes. Yeah, yes, yes. The next is Reverend Dr. Manjewa Bwangi. Okay. Bash. Congratulations. Next is Venerable Canon Rason Samboja. Okay. Next is the Reverend Dr. Evans Mwangi. Next is Mrs. Evelyn C. Kombe. Yule ambayo tulikuwa tunataka aimbe ile chorus. Bishop anasema uimbe chorus ukichukua certificate. Next is Reverend Gerard Ngubao. Are you here? Huh? He's there. They're over. Naambiwa huyo ndio last but not least. Congratulations. Hongera. Tumeisha. Kuna wengine ambao wataangaliwa. Kuna Reverend Dr. Kiundu is not feeling well. Asanteni sana. Yes. Asanteni sana. Sasa narudisha kipaza sauti kwa manager.
Thank you very much. So We go straight now to the vote of thanks. And I want to call upon the Administrative Secretary, Canon Kuza, to come and give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Daktari. Good evening, everyone. Praise God. I'm here for a very simple task to pass a word of thanks. First of all, we want to thank God for giving us this opportunity to meet. We planned and God consented that today, or from yesterday and today, we have this conference. We want to thank the Bishop, our Lord Bishop, the Right Reverend Dr. Alphonse Marobaya. This is, in fact, his mind that the diocese has an institute for research. So thank you, Bishop, for this very important thinking that we have a research institute in the diocese. I want to thank the council members who sat and planned for this conference. Dr. Ferdinand Manjewa, Reverend, Professor Matela, Professor Tole, and all those who participated in planning for this conference. Thank you so much. We want to thank our guest speaker, Archbishop Emeritus, Dr. Eliud Wabukala. Thank you, Your Grace, for bringing Mama together with you, Reverend Mrs. Rhoda Wabukala. Thank you so much, Mama, for accompanying the Archbishop for this very important conference. We thank also the keynote speakers, Dr. Michelle Sig, Professor Esther Mombo, for taking time to come so that he'll be with us. More especially Dr. Michelle, traveling all the way from the US so that to come to be with us here. More thanks to the researchers who have presented their papers here. All the researchers, we say thank you so much. It was not easy. We know you took a lot of time to put whatever you have given us together so that at least you understand that there are people who did some work in our Christian faith in Africa, and especially in the coast. I was wondering whether biographies are only for those who are dead. If those who are alive also can write something about them while they are still alive, I think it would be better. So next time, researchers, let us think of writing about those who are still alive. I know there are some and many who have done a lot of work for the church, and we need to recognize them. And we cannot recognize them with only words, because when they pass on, we'll forget them. But at least if we write when they're still alive, they'll also appreciate that we have recognized the work they have done for the church. So I want to thank all of us who have participated in this conference, and I wish you well as you go back to places of residence. God bless you so much.
So, yes.
The AS has talked about writing biographies for those who are alive. Yeah, the DABC, Dictionary of African Christian Biographies, from the School of Theology, Boston University, is focused on writing those who have passed. But they have a journal of African Christian biographies. Yeah, that one writes biographies of those who are alive. And it is 6,000 words. This one is 3,000 words. The other one is 6,000 words. So I thought maybe I should clarify that, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Another clarification. I fully endorse the idea of creating an archive. You should create an archive of living biographies because it will be much easier when they pass to actually write a historical biography. Very important. And clarification, our mission is to focus on urgently the memories of those who have passed before those memories fade away. So the DACB does publish deceased individuals uniquely. The journal also, except for one article per issue, we will put in an interview or a living biography of someone. So you can go back through past biographies, past issues of the journal, and you'll see that when we have it available, we will put in a living biography or an interview with someone who is alive. We have published interviews of Professor Jesse Mugambi, of Isabel Fury. So these are individuals who are alive and well. But so one per issue on our journal, just so you know.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you very much. Now we've come to the end. I just want personally to thank you all, the participants, for the cordial relationship we had. I want now to give this mic to our Lord Bishop to give us the closing remarks. Thank you. Sir.
Before the Bishop speaks, tomorrow we have a workshop for the researchers. And so we are asking, as the rest are going out for tea, please remain here to get in touch with Dr. Michelle. Yeah, so that we can just plan together about tomorrow for 5 minutes. Yeah. No, it's those who are in the dormitory, those researchers. The workshop is for them. The workshop is for them. Yeah. Well, you see, when the bishop speaks, the door is opened. If the says anyone who is interested here, I think Dr. Michelle would take even up to 20 if they are ready. If I got her right. Yeah.
You can still be part of this. I know somebody like Nondi really likes writing, but I don't think he's part of this. Somebody like this lady, Harry, they've been writing a lot. Perhaps the training may help you to improve on what you are doing. So any interested person, please, you can still join the Dombre researchers for the training. I think that is okay.
Sake of numbers, just knowing, maybe we don't even need to have the meeting now. It's about photocopies. Yeah. So, for those who are going to remain, maybe we can, those who are going to attend tomorrow, if we can know by show of hand. And then there is a homework Make sure tonight to do some homework. It's not difficult, but some reading, just reading, and then just to prepare for tomorrow. Am I saying the right thing? Yeah, just to prepare for tomorrow. So the numbers would help us to know whether the photocopies we have here are enough or we need to add more. Yeah. So if we can get the numbers by show of hand, all of us, and then Reverend Mary can distribute them. Those who would not have received, then we can make more photocopies for tomorrow. Na ukimbia uchukue yako bwana. Wewe ni manager. Yes, madam. Discuss all the logistics. So how many people have not received? We have one. Oh yeah.
Can be better in soft copy.
Soft copy. Yes, we have. I think we have a soft copy. You sent them to me. Yes. Yeah, I have them in a soft copy. So, but I don't know whether I have all the emails. When I send it to the clergy wall, which wall, the canon? Yeah, but not all of them are there now. Yeah. Okay. So how many are there? But we need to write their names. Yeah, so please remain, instead of holding this last moment, those who have not received, so you can remain. Yeah, so we can conclude that as the bishop is saying. Yeah. Oh, sir, ni saa tatu. 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock, we begin the workshop. So the earlier the better. Yeah. Yeah, of course, we are meeting here now. I don't know whether that was expected by the cathedral, but we had told them we are going to continue with the workshop. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll come here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Yeah. But for now, wale hawajapata, please remain behind when the rest are going for tea. Just 5 minutes tutamalizana.
Thank you so much. The AS has already given the vote of thanks. So we want to thank God for this opportunity to think about, reflect on Christian biographies. And I think, as I said yesterday, research should be an integral part of mission and ministry. And the gospel by St. Luke is very clear. He did a research and then he wrote an oral account. And this is what we need to do. Research should be an integral part of our mission and ministry. There are times we are required to make comments and to contribute to debates that are right in the areas that we serve. And we shy away from doing that because we do not want to read, we don't want to research. So this conference has opened our eyes to see the value of research in our ministry. So may God help us, may God enable us that we may have that determination and commitment to carry on with this work. So let me request the Archbishop to pray for us. I'm sure he will also be going back to Nairobi tomorrow morning. So, Your Grace, may I very humbly ask you to pray or give your remarks if you have any.
I want just to add my voice in saying thank you to Bishop Baya for the vision of having this conference and also stimulating our thinking. In this age, you are, my Lord Bishop, of social media, people are becoming lazy in writing and researching into the depths of ideas because they have opportunity to post anything. And then the whole world gets swayed on a lot of fake and falsehoods. So I think the researchers here, we need to really put a lot of effort and compete with this social media. After Professor Gidongo, after mentioning his name, I had to Google very fast. And I saw all that wealth of information that he's talking about. I also noticed this is almost one of my products. Yeah, I was your dean. This one's, when I was, Murutu was there. This one was there? No, it wasn't. Now, you see now, when you are a very small young man, boy, that's it, and disturbing me. No, not disturbing me. Very clever, very bright. Now, I'm so proud because these people, during my tenure as I taught Old Testament quite briefly, and by then, St. Paul's was going through another turmoil. I want to tell you some of my gifts, my Lord Bishop. God has used me sometimes, very shortly, but in a place where there is turmoil. When I came from University of Toronto, at St. Paul's, the expatriates and the indigenous professors, lecturers were at loggerheads. And the student body was also at loggerheads in terms of their denominations. They will go to a place they call Kamukunji, talk about everything. Maybe some of you are at Kamukunji. So I had to look at that scenario. And when I became, even before I became very briefly as a chaplain, and then the dean, I will make a cup of tea in my house, invite the lecturers who are white and those who are African, get a cup of tea. And they started actually talking. Somebody like Dr. Enso, who was a very difficult man because he could not greet anybody. At least he toned down. And then I left St. Paul's when actually it had come together. I was enjoying my, thank you for recognizing it. And I want Professor Kadongo to write those things because who will write for me? There's nobody else. So when they were getting a bishop in Bungoma, I was torn apart because I really wanted to pursue my academic line. And the Holy Wazes came from Bungoma and said, we must go with you. So I was torn between these people who were saying, remain, and the Wazes who said, I go. But one of them said, we are picking you because we want to have a bishop who is going to be an archbishop material. I don't know why they said that. So actually I left for Bungoma, but I thank God you people followed me. people like Olisapiti. I don't know whether Katongo you came. You came and supported my ministry for almost 2 weeks, did mission work, to plant churches. So you put your seed in Bungoma. Thank you so much. So I feel very proud what you are doing, my Baba. Keep it up and grow more of these people so that we don't forget. I'm so proud about that. Maybe another thing to tell you what I did, which Professor Mombo was here, she could have added. When I became chairman of the University Council, St. Paul's, we were now transiting into a fully-fledged university. And so they said, a vice chancellor cannot be a theologian. Hawa watu ambao wanasoma Biblia. So they cannot become vice chancellor. I put my feet down and said, there's a student here who I supervised his papers. I recommended to University of Cambridge direct for transitional program to PhD. And he was a bright boy. That was Galgalo. He had just come back. So this must be the vice chancellor. Well, those who are from other fields in the university were not happy. This is a man who has read only the Bible. How can he become the vice chancellor? I said, he will. And I can assure you during that time, St. Paul's, they exceeded our strategy. Because we were talking about 1,500 students. By the time I was leaving, we were 7,000. You know? And that was Professor Galgalo, people like Esther here, and the rest who are all products of that kind of situation. So I want to thank you people and just an encouragement. Don't look down upon yourselves. Know that you are the people. And Kenya can change, the world can change because of you people. So that's my encouragement. Baba's Coffee, you have brought this up. So wherever I go now, know that I will be shouting your name very loudly because of what you have done to us. Now, and of course, credit back to my friend, Dr. Michelle. If she had not, first of all, they invited me to Boston Center when I was in a parish next to your university. And then one of your professors, she's called who? Gabriel? Elizabeth. You know Elizabeth? Elizabeth. Professor at your center. Elizabeth. She's a member of the parish where I was serving. So she asked me to come and join you. That's where we met, and then it has become history together. So at Boston University, I was interested in the center. I also gave a talk there, and they thought I can also talk well. So I think that connection is still there for me, which I can add on. But that has happened. My friends, may God bless you so much. Baba Skofu, so much. Yesterday, I introduced you to a hymn, 463. I don't know whether you like that. You have a voice still. Let's sing just fast. If you can manage everything, fine. Just want to trust God and obey Him. Because Micah chapter 6, verse 8 says, justice, compassion, and obedience. All that combined in this hymn. And at a later year, Saudi, when we walk in the Lord, pray, start. And I know His word, as the glory sheds on our way. Who is good? Abide with us here, and before who is trust and obey. Trust and obey. There is no other way to be happy in Jesus. A to trust and obey. Let's sing the last one. Then in fellowship sweet, we will sit at his feet, or will walk by in the way. What he says we will do. Where he sends we will go. Never fear, only trust and obey. Trust and obey. For there's no other way to be happy in Jesus. But to trust and obey. Gracious Lord, we want to trust in your goodness, in the way you have poured your grace upon us as your creatures who may not deserve much from you. But because you love us, you have given us every gift beyond our imagination. Lord, continue to bless us. Continue, Lord, to magnify our names, our deeds that are good for the glory of your name. This evening, I want, Lord, to lift this diocese in your hands, our bishop and his staff, that God, as they go and come every moment, you will be with them. I want, Lord, to lift all who have contributed in this research, which has enabled us to discover quite a lot of work that has been done by those who have gone before us, that indeed we may follow their footsteps and advance this work for the glory of your name. Father, as we conclude and go with us, protect us, and above all, may you convert us to your love and to a fellowship as a one people in Christ. Lord, be with us and encourage us as you have done. Also, I want to pray for your church, that we are representatives of this church universal, including our friends who have come represented here by Dr. Michelle, that we may be one connected because of reading our biographies and learning from each other. Thank you for those who have spoken and encouraged us. In our last speaker, all of them. So Lord, bless us, Lord. Keep us alive in the spirit for your work. These things we ask through Christ our Lord. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, be with you and remain with you now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you.
We are dismissed.
Nilipewa hiki